Welcome to Lecture 6.3, Running and Launching ROS Nodes. So let's fire up some ROS nodes. Technically, we could CD around our file system, find packages, and start nodes with just Python, the file name, .py. This works. You can try it out if you like, but it's highly inconvenient to do so. Finding where the package is, finding where the node is, calling Python on each one, it's not super convenient. So there's this really nice package that ROS has, the ROS bash package. ROS bash. It includes several utilities to improve this experience. Install it with the following. So sudo apt install ROS bash. So let's give that a shot here. A terminal window. Sudo apt install ROS bash. My super secret password. All right, great. So now, in order to get those, get everything available, we might need to do exec shell or open a new terminal. Okay, so one of the things we might want to do when we're trying to launch or run ROS packages is to know which files are in a given ROS package. So remember that inside a package we would want to see potential nodes that would be available. So and then there are also like the package.xls for instance. So you can instead of CDing around, you can list the files in any directory in any ROS package directory using ROS ls. So it's sort of like ls, but ROS ls. Okay, and then we could choose a package. For instance, the ROS.py package, and we see that there's a cmake, a package.xml, and ROS build in the ROS.py package. So we could look at the package.xml if we wanted to, for instance. If we wanted to change our current directory in our terminal to the package, we could just use, again, in any directory, we can use ROS cd. So it's like cd, but specifically to find and change directories to ROS packages. So I could use ROS cd and ROS.py. And now I'm in opt ROS melodic share ROS.py. So this is where I installed ROS to, and ROS.py is there in the share folder. So now I'm there. I could ls now, or I could I think I can just do ROS ls directly here as well. It acts like ls in that case. Great, so I used ROS cd. There's also tab completion. So for instance, if I start typing ROS cd and then ROS.py, I can hit tab completion and I can see, okay, I have two packages that start with ROS.py. Okay, one of them is ROS.py itself and the other one is ROS.py _ tutorials. Okay, so I could then put an underscore in, tab completion, and it fills in the rest for me. Highly useful, saves a ton of time. Get used to using tab completion, it helps a lot. So if I have more than one option and I hit tab twice, it lists all the possibilities. If there's only one possibility, so if I do ROS.py underscore, there's only one possibility. I hit tab, it fills in which what that one option is. That one option, it remains. So if I hit enter, it changes me to that directory. Very useful. A couple other things we're going to explore here are going to be ROS run and ROS launch. So we'll do ROS run first. First we need to install the tutorials, the ROS tutorials, to use the little tutorial session that we're going to start up here. It's in the Talker listener under ROS-Pi tutorials. So first I'll cd to home. Don't have such a long prompt. And I can just copy and paste this installation string here. So copy it, paste it. This will get me the ROS melodic ROS tutorials, and great. Now that I've got that installed, we exec shell before we start any nodes, just to make sure that it's available to this specific shell. So exec shell. Okay, now it's available. And before we start any nodes, we need the ROS core service started. So let's go ahead and start up the ROS core in this directory here, ROS core. Great. So it's running. It's ready to go. It's ready to serve, to be this sort of name server. The big other for our ROS nodes that we'll fire up now with ROS run. So open a fresh terminal. We'll start our first real node with the ROS run command. So we're going to fire up the Talker node from the ROS-Pi tutorials package, which we just installed. So we need to open a new window. So it's Alt Control T. Actually, I can open a new tab if I do Alt Shift T. Is it? No. Do this without thinking, and now that I'm thinking about it, I can't do it. Yeah, anyways, or just hit that, get a new tab. I don't know, I like using keyboard shortcuts, but they're missing right now in my mind. So make this a little bigger. Great, so we want to start up a new node here, the Talker node. So I'll do ROS run and ROS-Pi tutorials, okay, underscore tab to autocomplete, and then Talker is one of the available nodes to fire up in this package. So I'll hit enter. Oh, and this is something that you might run into. No module named YAML. There is, in some of these ways of installing things, you might run into this. You can fix this with pip install pi YAML, I believe it is, hopefully. This is installing a Python library. Okay, great. Install successful. I'll exec the shell to make sure it's available for us. Now I'll try again firing up. Okay, ROS package also. I think this one is available using apt. So let's try it. Sudo apt install ROS package. Okay, maybe I should do it with pip install ROS package. Yeah. Okay, great. So now again, exec shell. Try this again. All right, hello world. Good. So it's running. It's Talker. It just says hello world and then a timestamp every 10 milliseconds. Okay. So at 10 hertz, it's running away. Great. We want to open up a new tab now. Okay. And now we want to fire up a listener. So the Talker node's publishing. And now we want to set up another node, ROS run, ROS Pi tutorial listener. Okay, so this is a listener node that subscribes to the chatter topic that Talker is publishing to. So the listener hears hello world at these different times. Okay, so that's working. Great. If you want to look at the graph now of our ROS graph, you can use the RQT graph command here. So let's see if I can put it up. It's Control-Shift-T. That's the command. I couldn't remember to open a new tab. So now I want to run RQT graph, and this should pop up a GUI and show that I have a Talker node publishing to the chatter topic and a listener node subscribing to the chatter topic. So just as we expected to see in the graph, that's what we've got. It looks like this: Talker, listener, chatter. Great. So when you're done with these nodes, you can stop them from executing using Control-C. Okay, so see if I can make my way back to the listener, and Control-C stops that node. If I can go back to the, did not get shut down. Control-C, it's supposed to work. It does work. It's just that I think my processor is getting overtaxed here. Hopefully this doesn't bog down your virtual machine too much. It's one of the challenges you can run into when you use a virtual machine, is that your resources, I don't think I've properly allocated my resources for this virtual machine. Okay, so finally that worked. Now, launching ROS nodes. It is inconvenient to manually ROS run every node for larger, i.e. typical ROS graphs. Okay, so we had to launch them, or we had to run them with ROS run separately, right? Each node we wanted to start. Launch files have extension .launch and are collections of node information that the command ROS launch operates on. The example Talker listener graph from above has a launch file, Talker listener.launch. Let's first find the launch file so we can ROS CD to the Talker listener subdirectory of the ROS Pi tutorials directory. And if we list the files in there, there's a Talker listener.launch file. Print its contents and you'll see this, okay, which has a node name package type output, okay? And then, so there are two nodes, and then another node. So this was the listener node. Talker node has a name, package type, and output. So the package parameter for each node tag specifies the package from which the node comes. Type tag, the Python file. The output tag is often screen, so that the node outputs to the console instead of just a log file. And then name tag may at first seem superfluous, right? So we've got the name tag, and then we also have the Python file, the node that we're going to fire up. When we did ROS run, we didn't bother with this. There is an option in ROS run to give it a name as well, but it'll just take the name of the node if you don't specify. So it may seem superfluous to give it a name and give it the type, the Py file. However, it's very important. Distinct names can be given to the same node type. For instance, two listener.py nodes can be launched with distinct names. This is one way of separating what is called the namespace of a ROS graph. It's very common to need multiple of the same node. And of course, we want to distinguish between the two nodes, so we will give them different names. So you could do like listener 1, listener 2, talker 1, talker 2, etc. for names, and use the same Py file to launch those nodes. Okay, from any directory, the talker listener graph can be launched with the following call to the launch file. So you can use ROS launch, the package name, and then the launch file. We should get the same results as our manual ROS run method above, so you can just execute that in the terminal, and it will launch the same ROS graph that we had before. So that is how to get ROS graph running, sort of manually using ROS run, or as we'll do more frequently, using ROS launch to launch the graph all at once using the launch file. So yeah, that's navigating around in ROS packages using ROS ls, ROS cd, tab completion, ROS run, and ROS launch. Okay, so now just enjoy. Okay.